Roll call.
Nereida Cantu present.
Mary Hernandez present.
Espiotra present.
Alex Cantu present.
Alda Benavides present. Dr. Science, I declare a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Benavides. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments.
If we don't have any public comments, we'll move to item number 5, under bids, approval of air and surface sanitizing equipment, district-wide CSP 2022-19, item number 2.
So moved to approve.
Motion has been made to approve. Do I have a second? I'll second that motion. Mr. Are there any questions, any discussion?
If we could, Dr. Benavides, excuse me, if we could just have, I know we requested the location of each, where they will be placed, and we kind of got a very broad, 30 here, 16 there. If we could have that more specific on that, I'd like that just to have, 30 each high school will get 30. I kind of would like to know, La Jolla High School got 30, 5 in the gym, 4 in the cafeteria, and so on. Dr. Science, if I could please have that, or we could please have that.
Yes, in that information that you got, these units are going to be installed in cafeterias, the gymnasiums, libraries, locker rooms, the fine arts areas at each of the high schools, for example, such as the band hall, the mariachi rooms, the choir rooms, the theater, orchestra, and dance hall. And because in each of the different locations, the square footage of these rooms is all different, it was hard to say this many in this band hall and this as opposed to this many in the other band hall. And so what the department will do is, based on the square footage of each of the rooms in different high schools, that is how many will be installed. And so we are thinking, for example, that it's going to take 30 per location. It might be a few less or more, depending, because every school has different sizes of cafeterias or gyms or band halls.
Could it be then, Dr. Science, that after they're installed, if we can just get through our board update, just at La Jolla High School, there was
Yes.
5 at the cafeteria, 2 in the theater room, and that way we'll have a better
We would be very happy
understanding.
to give you that information once we have placed them, where how many exactly were put into each cafeteria, each gym and or band hall, and any of these other locations.
Will that work, Dr. Cantu?
Yes, thank you. Yes, especially because we have quite a bit of extras, so I kind of want to just make sure we're not ordering extra.
The number that we're estimating based on this is that we would have 40 units left over, and like this information from Mr. Loya says, those will be used for other needs. Routine maintenance, and what that means is that if we need to remove one to clean it or several at a time, then we have these 40 extra to replace temporarily while they're being cleaned or serviced.
And 40 is a good number, I'm saying that, but upon entering this meeting, I got some clarification from Mr. Loya, but my understanding based on the notes that we received, we were gonna have much more extra than that. Either it was written wrong, but he clarified that with me.
Yeah, the vendor had a different description, but the total number of units that we're purchasing is 480. I do admit that the vendor's description was confusing.
Very.
Any other questions? Mr. Loya, did you?
Good evening, Board. Dr. Cantu, to clarify, it is 640. We did look at the notes, and it is 640. So we will get 480 additional. So the 160 plus the 480.
Okay, so see, that's what I was saying, correct?
Yes,
okay, so then my question then is, how did we come up, or what are we going to do with now 200 extra?
Okay, so we have large floor areas all over the district, hallways. If you go to any campus, they have huge hallways, so we can also put them in the hallways now. And we'll give the board an updated list of where each unit is being installed. We already have a log for the units that are out there currently, and that's how we track them, with barcode from assets, and then we give it a work order so we know exactly where the unit's at, and we have it logged in. So if we need to go out there to do any type of maintenance, we're not lost, or we're a lot more efficient when we get out there.
So, but when we came up with a 440, we came up with a 440 based on the square footage already, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're going to get 640.
Yes. And like I said, it was an estimate because they're not here yet, so we haven't gone out there to actually install, but going off the side of the gyms, for the most part, they're 20,000 square feet, so I'll probably put 4 in the big gyms. There's high schools that have 2 gyms, so those will get 8. So it just depends once we get out there. That's just an estimate. I mean, like I said, once the equipment's here, I'll give you an accurate count.
Mr. Loya, since we'll be having some extra, and we have to also take into account some of my other employees here in the district, like we have employees in the warehouse, we have employees in custodial warehouses, we have employees at transportation, and those large areas that they themselves, have these type of support to purify the air that they're breathing in and out.
Yes, and those are, some are already included, Ms. Ochoa, in there, so I'm glad. And if we could have more in there, of course. I just want to make sure that we were saying we were only going to have 40, now we're having 200 extra.
Well, we're a very large district, so in a way
Yeah,
that's
no.
actually good, because if they are maintaining
Well,
the
that's why I
end,
said I want a
so-
diagram or a final count, because I want to make sure that these 200 are placed where we need them, in transportation, in warehouse, and they're not in a storage unit somewhere.
Yeah,
Yes,
ma'am.
yeah, and I'm
That's a
sure the
good
breakdown
point,
and the
Dr. Cantu.
accountability will be there.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
So we will make sure that we bring a graph or just a count of how many were placed in all of the different locations once they're installed.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know you'll take it into account, but schools like Garcia and De Zavala have very large hallways, very wide hallways. So perhaps those schools with those large hallways are going to need
The closed
a little bit
campuses.
more than the ones that don't have the
Yes.
Well, I
hallways.
can think of Sam Fordyce, I can think of Gonzalez Elementary, all of those hallways are huge.
Those that are closed, that they don't go outdoors.
They were all built by the same architect, so they're very wide hallways. Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. If there's no questions, there's a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So move.
Second?
A motion has been made by Ms. Ochoa, second by Dr. Cantu. All those in favor say aye. 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 All those against? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned at 6:14.